About 2 weeks ago, Gray Zone Warfare had a peak player count of about 2,000 people that tended to be pretty steady across the board, across the days. And they just released their update, point 0.3 update, the Winds of War update, and it has shot the player count up dramatically. They are now at about 17,000 players peak during this weekend. And what sucks is I can't even play it. It crashes for me. There's some sort of RAM leak going on with my system. I don't know. But what I will say is, despite that, I still think they're the best in the business. My name is Tacti, and I'm on a quest to find the most immersive experiences available on the internet. And today, we're going to talk about Gray Zone Warfare. Do you think that creators should get early access to Gray Zone Warfare content? Do you think with every update, creators should get just an early preview that regular viewers or regular players can't get? Do you think they should get that? I certainly do. I think that Gray Zone Warfare they're the smartest people when it comes to this. And I think that's the smartest idea. I think it's the right way to do that. And I'm going to ruffle some feathers. I know that because I already ruffled feathers over there on Twitter by saying that. But truthfully, if you're upset about this, you're thinking about it all wrong, okay? So I want to talk about that today. I want to try to change your mindset. Unfortunately, I cannot play the latest Gray Zone Warfare update. Like I said, everything's crashing for me. So I get about 15 minutes in and my RAM usage shoots up to about 24, 25 gigs, and then it just stops working. So it's a bummer, but I'm 34 years old. I truthfully don't have time to get upset about something like that. So instead, I'm making this video about why the game itself, why the marketing specifically is just genius. They're just geniuses over there. And you don't got to be the sharpest tool in the shed to do some of the things that they're doing, but they're just geniuses. And I want to also clarify, I'm not talking about the longevity of the game when it comes to player retention. I am not talking about players just enjoying the game for long periods of time. So the player count at 2,000 players, if it's at 2,000 players a week from now, that doesn't change anything that I'm saying here. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I'm not saying they're the greatest game. I'm just saying they do marketing the correct and proper way, and in a way that promotes their game and also promotes some good bug fixing. Oh boy, that could have been bad. So let's talk about that. Okay, they just released their Winds of War update, the 0.3 update, after about a year of development. And with that, they've really pushed for PvP. They're looking to increase that player retention with some PvP, because PvP tends to be enjoyable. It tends to be dynamic. There's a lot that goes into that. People just enjoy that a little bit more. So they're really pushing for that. They've done a lot of things when it comes to like the weather. They've got dynamic weather. They've got rain and everything like that. But they have optimized the game tremendously, at least from the prior updates. And now even before I was crashing, I was getting 80 to 120 frames just on high and epic settings. So doing pretty well when it comes to that. So hopefully everybody's enjoying it. So far, it seems to be doing okay. We'll just see when the numbers come in, see what that player retention looks like going forward. But I want to talk about why I just want you to trust them when it comes to the marketing, because it appears that they know what they're doing. Okay, so a lot of people get upset because creators get early access to the new builds of the game, to these big updates like that. They did that for the launch, they did that for the prior update, or for that first update, and then they did it for this update. And a lot of people that bought the supporter edition feel like they've been gypped out a little bit. I think they feel like, hey, I paid money into this game. I'm paying the maximum amount of money that I can pay for this game, and I'm not getting access to this stuff. That's just unfair is the term that I saw. And I don't think that's the correct way to look at it, because one, I don't think you were promised early access to that. I could be wrong. If someone wants to prove me wrong. Two, I want you to also realize Gray Zone Warfare has not spent any dollars on marketing. They have spent $0 when it comes to paid sponsorships. They don't do paid sponsorships. They don't do paid streams. They don't pay for ads to show, like when you're scrolling through your phone. They don't do that. Okay, they don't spend any money on that. But despite not spending any money other than, I guess you can say, on their community leaders, they spend money for whoever is on staff for their community leaders. But despite that, they've sold 1 million copies It might be 1.5 mil now. I don't know. At least 1 million copies. And they had a peak player count of 72,000 players. So then that in itself, $0 translating to 1 million copies sold is pretty incredible. It's a pretty incredible feat. The ROI on that, I don't know if you know anything about business. If not, that's incredible. Return on investment, that's great. But here's why that's such a good idea. Okay, I think the answer is twofold. I think when it comes to creators, number one, obviously, you're showing the game off. You are promoting a sense of like, oh, I want that. When players are seeing the content coming out for this game, players are like, man, that looks kind of fun. And creators are obviously enjoying themselves as well, but they're also giving that vital feedback. Both first hand, and third hand, because their community also is going to comment and kind of engage with the content creator about what they're seeing on the screen and maybe throw some ideas out there, which is great. So with that early access, that's what Gray Zone is doing. They're showing the early preview. They are preparing the viewer, kind of building up that anticipation to be able to try that. And also what they're doing is they're using this as a bug fix method. So a lot of people, like I said, think that if they bought the supporter edition, they should be in these playtests. Let me tell you what happens when it comes to that. If everyone is like, hey, they get into the playtest with the supporter edition, I want to spend my money and get into the supporter edition and get into these playtests. One of the things that they do is they prepare the servers, they test the servers, they stress the servers and the mechanics, and they want to see like a closed group test the game with this. So they're doing marketing, they're doing those bug fixes with a closed group so that when it releases to the masses, it should be fixed for everybody, right? Because if they don't, everybody that buys into the supporter edition gets in there and they're like, this is garbage. There are so many bugs in this. I can't run the game. I'm out. And then they refund. Like that's just not practical. Okay. That people just don't want a ton of refunds on their Steam game, obviously, which also leads to lower reviews. They don't want that. That's not something that Steam games are trying to do is have players get refunds and rate the game poorly. Okay, I suppose even though they could just go in and rate it poorly because they don't get access. If you do, you're a dweeb. But they're preparing the game. Creators are preparing the game for launch, because if a creator that mostly is playing video games, right? If they go in and they're playing the game for 9, 10, 11 hours and they're like, man, this is great. This has been fantastic. I haven't had to go back to base at all. I feel really good about this update. Then boom, that's like a check mark for Gray Zone Warfare. They see, okay, something about this build, something about this specific mechanic that we've seen them play over 9 hours, something about that has kept them playing. Let's push deeper into that. Let's see what mechanic we have here that people really enjoy, and let's continue to build upon that. And so what they've done, like with the playtest and what they did with the full release, one of the things that they changed was, one, the RAM leak, but also they changed notifications. So what would happen is when someone on your team was getting rocked by somebody else's bullets, you would get a notification. But now they've kind of tightened that area up so that you only get that notification if you're within a specific area there. I think that's how it works. I don't know. I played it. I don't know. Who knows? But they did adjust it. I do know that. Okay, just give me some grace there. And so with those systems, what they've been able to do is prepare the update to be high quality to, prevent less negative scores, less negative reactions to that. Plus, to me, I think it's a pretty fair thing because they're not wanting players to have a bad experience with their game. They're like, hang on, we gotta adjust a couple things. I talked to Rick earlier this week and I said, hey, how much have you guys grown by? So from the launch, he guesses, it's his best estimate, that the team has grown by 20 people. Now they've sold 1 million units they've grown by 20 people in that time frame, about 20 people, I guess. It's not super accurate, but they've been able to pay developers, add to the team. Like if you think about it, a developer makes what, 50, let's just say 50,000. I don't know, 50,000 a year. Let's take 50,000 a year times 20 employees. What is that? I don't know. Someone else do the math. I don't want to do the math. I'm trying to record a YouTube video and I can hardly talk as it is. That's a lot of cash, right? That's a pretty good thing. So number one, resources go to development more than into paying creators. But what that also does is that means the creator's opinion is going to be way more accurate than a paid ad. Any creator opinion that you see, that you hear, is not going to be backed by any type of monetary compensation, right? Which is fantastic because, you know, you've always got people talking about how you're a paid shill, right? You just can't make the internet happy. But so it's just a way to be more honest as a creator for a creator viewer experience. So I think that's missed a lot here. I think that's one thing that maybe you guys should consider when it comes to how angry you are that creators have early access like this. Now, as far as is the game update good, I don't know. That's one of the things that we're going to have to see a couple weeks down the road. If it drops to 2,000 players, then maybe it wasn't the best. But at least what they've got now is data, and they've got players back into it, 17,000 players at least, to test the update. So regardless of if the update was good, regardless of whether or not it's a great experience, this is 0.3. We still got many points to go before full release. So regardless of if that experience was good, they've at least hyped people up enough to get back into it and give some more data, see what works, see what doesn't work, because that's the whole purpose of early access there. So just some thoughts there. I know that I just spent like 10 minutes slobbering over Gray Zone Warfare, but I truly believe this is the way to do it. If you're going to be a studio, if you're going to develop something that is a little bit different than what's on the market, if you're going to want to get people's attention and get people into test again, you got to be the king of hype. You got to be hype kings. And that's what Gray Zone Warfare has shown themselves to be, is hype kings. But also, you know, they've got a good product, right? You can't do this and then have a bad product and expect it to go well. But they've got obviously a good product that people enjoy. It just needs tweaked. It needs some better systems that people will stick around a little bit longer and play. So kind of my 2 cents. I couldn't play the game, so I'm like, I got to make something. So this is what I made. I've recorded like 3 times. So I maybe repeated things, but I'm not going to record it again. I'm just not going to do it, guys. Regardless, if you agree with my opinion, hit that like button. If you didn't, let me know down below and hit that dislike button, because I know you know where it is. I know you know where it is. And if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button as well. I'm just an opinion guy now, but I'm enjoying it. So until the next one, blend in until you need to stand out.